Welcome to the channel. My name is Amanda Gates, and today what I wanted to share with you is I got a question in from a reader about how she can change her own, I think what she's asking is her personal chi when she works in a negative environment. Her question was, is there something that I can do if I work in a negative environment and I don't want to be negative? I think this is such a valuable question because a lot of times we want to be elevated, right? We want to feel in those, what I talk a lot about, the above the cross emotions. And if you follow my podcast or read any of my blogs here on the YouTube channel, I'm always talking about above the cross emotions. Being above the cross means that you're happy, you're elevated, you feel joy. You just make a conscious effort to always be elevated and positive. And this can be hard because we live in a very negative world. Below the cross emotions can be guilt, shame, judgment, fear. It's all the icky stuff, right? So I think this question is really valuable because this is really about how to cultivate your own chi in an environment that's not so positive. So if you leave your home in the morning and you're elevated and you're happy and you're feeling great, and then you go into a really negative environment where people are gossiping, maybe there's bad talk, maybe they're talking about stuff that's on the news that you don't really care to join in, maybe they're talking about politics, that can really affect your system. That can really affect your energy. Because what happens is you're fluffy and elevated and you feel great. And then especially if you're empathic, which means you absorb that stuff, you hear all that icky stuff, and then you start to feel kind of gross, right? By the end of the day, you're exhausted. You may feel fatigued and just not very well. You may have a pit in your stomach. Probably the number one complaint though is when you're in that environment, you just feel drained. So that is definitely a result of being in a negative environment. So big question is, what do you do? This is my best advice that I can give you, and I teach this to my students in my online course, Mastering Feng Shui with Confidence. If you're really trying to cultivate your chi, you need to be doing everything that you can to elevate your chi. So what you want to do is take time for yourself, take time for self-care. So that may look like maybe on your lunch break, you go outside and put your feet in the grass because that's going to help charge you. You can literally take the energy from the earth and fluff you, basically. Go sit with a tree. That can do the same thing. Maybe find a place where you can sit on the ground and just close your eyes and take some deep breaths just to recalibrate and recenter. The other thing that you can do is you can listen to music or listen to something that's uplifting and empowering. Anything that you can do to help yourself step outside of that energy and step outside of those feelings, because the feelings that you get from all that negativity is what perpetuates it. Here's the really cool thing, and I've seen this again and again. When you take the time to cultivate your chi and you take the time to really do things that make you feel good, your environment changes. So you may say to yourself, oh, but I'm around all these negative people, nothing's going to change. What happens is that when you start to stay elevated and choose things that help you to stay elevated, what happens is you are no longer an energetic match to that environment. Cool, right? So what does that look like? That could mean that you get promoted and get moved to a different department. Or maybe your office changes, the location of it. I've seen this again and again where people get transferred either to another location, a different department, or their boss changes. So when that changes, then there's kind of a ripple effect because then the dynamic of how that office has been put together and the staff changes. So if you're dealing with negative circumstances and you want to change it, start with yourself. Do everything that you can to cultivate your chi. Hopefully this tip has helped you. My name is Amanda Gates. If you like the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you've got questions or maybe there's another feng shui question that you have, be sure to put those comments below or email us at letschat@thegatescompany.com.